Hello there YouTube, another video here today about one of my favorite cardiovascular exercises. That's biking. Now you're wondering why I'm sitting here on the bike all tore apart, tires almost all the way out the rim. Well, one of the things, two things are the major reasons why people don't ride. They don't get out there and get that 20 minutes of sustained heart rate. One of the reasons is weather, and yeah, that'll get us all. Too much rain, too much snow, too much ice, sleet, whatever you want to call it, that'll keep you off the road. But the second one, and the one that's most exasperating because it generally happens when you're way out in the middle of nowhere, that's kind of like the idea about your bike maintenance. Have you taken care of your bike? Have you changed your tubes regularly? Have you filled the tires, filled the tubes? Have you oiled the chain? Mine's a little dry, a little squeaky. These are kind of things we're going to kind of work on to make sure you just get out there. Biking, as they say, is the activity that once you learn it, you never forget it. So I'm not going to give you some goofy lesson on how to ride a bike, unless that's what you want. And go ahead and let me know that in the comment section. But we're going to get started here. We got the tire levers. Alright, we're back. So, there's three of them. I generally use two of them. I got this end off. These are really tight. I could make you a video of me getting mad and grumbling at the bike. Why won't you cut off? But I don't think you weren't interested in that. So once you have one side off with the tire tube, you've let all the air out, of course. That's kind of probably going to be already have happened. But if it hasn't, and you got a slow leak, don't mess around with slow leaks. They become full-on hole leaks, and it won't hold air, and you'll be stuck in the middle of nowhere, like I said. Anyway, so you get one of these guys out of here. You hook it off to the spoke like that. Then you get the next one, and you just slide it off. Didn't I make that look easy? Different rims will have different skill levels. Different tires, especially if you have high pressure Presta tube, that's the only kind of tubes I have in my house. There are these kind of, the difference between a regular tube, just on everyday life, and one of these high pressure Presta tubes is, they have this, they call it like an out, instead of an innie. Old style bikes have the tube that goes out, and then there's a valve inside that needs to be pressed in. These don't have that, it's a little different. One is high pressure, that's the Presta. One is low pressure, which is the traditional style. So with the new tube, I usually put a little air in there. You can do that with your lips. I've already done that. You can do that with your pump. Mr. Pump.
Are you okay, Liv? Are you okay?
Right here.
Because that whole time you were on your phone. That whole time.
Put it on, pump it up. Do I need to show you how to use the tube? Pump. Anywho. So I start by finding the hole that the valve goes through. Boom. There it is. Yeah, boom. She's back. Oops, take this little ring off here. Don't need that. Oh yeah, it's rookie hour here. But hey, that's part of the fun. You learn and I learn at the same time. Why not, right? And then the tire like that. I've done it both ways. You can put it in the tire. It doesn't really matter. You can kind of just go along like I'm doing here. But the key is never to get too physical with the tube. I think we're going to put this in the tire first. Never get too physical with the tube, or you'll put a hole in it before you ever have a chance to. Get it right and get it wrong, you know what I'm saying? So it takes a little time, but it's worth it. Get it right, there's always a little extra at the end, that's what happens. When you put the air in there, then that's taken out, that slack is taken out. So then once again you find where the hole is. Right now. There it is. start the process of putting it on. And that's generally getting one side on there. I'm trying to get the whole tire on there. See how I'm kind of just getting that one side in there. See how we lost this? I think I might be too physical with this guy now. Let's start the engine here. I don't want to get too physical with this valve. Come on. Come on. You gotta talk sweet to it a little bit sometimes. And come on. There we go. Now that's it. Now we got one side on there, so it's on one side. Now we come back here, and we're gonna start getting it close. Being careful not to pinch that tube up under the rim, especially by the valve. That's important. And you'll get close, and then you have to stretch the last bit, and you can do that. You'll struggle too. You're laughing at me right now, but you'll struggle too. It was easier when me and my boy were doing this. Alright, there we go. Okay, like that. Try to get more. Oh, not this one. Be careful not to get that. Be careful not to get that tube. Bring in that tube. There we go. Wasn't pretty, but there she is. She's on. These tire tools, or tethers, or whatever you want to call them, they're relatively inexpensive. I bought these 22 years ago when I bought this bike. I'm kind of a guy who sticks with something that he likes. You know, changing the tire and the tubes can involve you looking at the side of the tire. I know it's a little out of order, but I didn't really look at my whiteboard here. So, you know, this Grandor Cross. It's a cross bike. This isn't for this bike, obviously, but that's a 700 C35, or a 700 centimeter by 35 millimeters, I believe. And it'll be on the side. This is like really, you can't read it. You'll just have to take my word for it. 700 by 35 C. So that's 700 around by 35. That's the width. So sometimes the classifications for the tires are a little different wherever you buy your tubes. I would suggest not buying them online though, unless you're absolutely certain that's the right one. The person hasn't been bit by that one. One thing I'd also say on these bikes, anything that has a bolt can come loose on it. The vibration from the riding, you know, the pounding, just the day in day out riding. You're going to ride a lot if that's what you're into. So I suggest getting like a cheap bike tool set. And if you don't want to get stuck buying a bunch of tools that you're not sure you need, then take it to your bike store and say, hey, I'm looking for, what do I need? What size Allens do I have? My bike is mostly Allens, metric. I just bought a cheap Chinese metric Allen wrench set, and they're not here with me now because I'm a moron. But anyways, if you invest in those tools and you tighten them like what? You know, every couple months. It's not completely necessary to do it every time you ride. I don't. One thing, like I said before, about lubing the old chain now, it involves, I've already wiped it off with a towel. You want to get most of the gross soil and oil become like this kind of like goo that is, you know, it's not great for the system. But one thing to remember, and I got a pretty bent rim, you can't see it, but those things can be repaired at your local bike store, and I would suggest creating a good relationship with the folks at your local bike store. I wouldn't suggest buying a bike there. We've all been burnt by that. You can buy a bike online, you can put it together yourself. You can buy your bike a good, heavy steel bike at a big box store. See, the problem with buying things online is you don't get to ride that darn thing. It doesn't fit you. You go to that big box store, or if you go, don't tell the bike store. Go to the bike store. Find out what size you need and what bike will fit you. Then order that fella online. Boom. Savings happening. You will have to put it together. You may make some mistakes putting it together, but like I said, you can go to the big box store. I'm not endorsing any business whatsoever, but this maintenance, getting back to this maintenance, I'm going to put a little oil on this chain, and you're going to laugh when you see how simple it is, but the biggest mistake people make is they put too much oil on, not that they don't put enough on, but they put too much on. And this, literally, I bought this 10 years ago. This is Pedro's lube oil, it's great stuff. I wouldn't suggest applying it right before you get it all wet. It has a tendency to freaking spit all over the frame. I've got permanent scars from that. These are like plastic covers. I don't know what Canada was thinking, but anyways, it was 22 years ago, so it's not gonna be for anyway. So getting the lube on the chain just means getting a few drops here and there, running it through the cassette and up over the front ring, and just put them over here and keep going, keep moving through and then you can move through the gears. I'm not going to. I don't need to. Once you have it you have enough on the chain. And you're just looking for kind of like just a slight glossiness. You don't need it doesn't need to be flipping oil everywhere. That's super duper annoying. See how much smoother it is already? I'll give put a little love on there. Boom, done. So anywho, that's kind of in a nutshell what I wanted to say in this video. I know it's kind of like a tech corner video. Not so much about fitness necessarily, but if your bike isn't on the road, you're not going to be getting that fitness. You're not going to be getting that cardiovascular exercise, that aerobic exercise, 20 minutes sustained. And that's kind of important if you really want to get in shape. Anyhow, peace out.